Welcome into the lounge presented by DraftKings. We have the pleasure of sitting down with defensive tackle Travis Jones today. And Travis, I'll start here. Last year, I feel like, you're kind of a quieter guy. I kind of feel like the rookies are on the back wall in the locker room. Mm-hmm. How many interviews did you do last year? Because I feel like you kind of flew under the radar.
Yeah, last year I did about one. Yeah, after I got that sack, the Giants game, had one person come up to me, and that's about it.
But see, you're such a nice guy. I don't know what was going on. What the media felt like threatened, or what was it?
Actually, after practice, I try to hide from the media when they came after practice. That's one thing I try to do.
I don't think that's going to work for you this year.
Yeah, exactly. Let's hope not, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So, yeah, I mean, your role, you kind of, as we're mentioning here, is going to grow, with Calais leaving, going down to Atlanta. Just what are your feelings about that?
Yeah, with Calais leaving, he had a big part on the D-line, making plays every game. And I feel like with him leaving, just give some of the younger guys a chance to go out there and show that we make plays.
Right.
I mean, you already contributed a lot as a rookie, but coming into this year, I think with Calais' absence too, you talked about you being a little quieter of a guy. Yep. Calais' voice is missing on the practice field. We're used to hearing him booming from like a field over. Who do you think is going to fill that kind of void that he left?
Yeah, during OTAs, Mike Pierce started speaking up a lot. Brody Washington, Matty BK, and those guys, those are the guys I look up to.
Yeah, you have kind of a deep voice.
Yeah,
not quite Calais' level, but maybe you could get down there. I don't know. What do you think? Could you do like a Calais impersonation? We won't ask you to do it here.
I think I could, but I wouldn't.
The yes, sir, into the mic screaming.
Yes, sir.
Mink will do it for you.
Yeah, there you go. I got you. So, I mean, what did you take away from your rookie year? What were some of the biggest kind of lessons that you learned that you bring into your sophomore season?
Yeah, for my rookie year, towards the beginning of the year, I feel like things were moving a little fast for me. And towards the back end of the last 5-6 games, I feel like everything started slowing down for me. I started making more plays. And going to my second year, I just want to show improvement. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And how much did, early on you had that knee injury, and it was really a shame, preseason knee injury, and it felt like it kind of, just as you were getting going and stuff like that, it slowed you down. Did you feel like that kind of was a hurdle that you needed to get over?
Yeah, with that knee injury, I felt like it slowed me down for a little bit, but like I said, towards the end of the season, I wasn't thinking about it as much. I was just out there playing ball.
Yeah.
Coming from UConn, where as a team, you guys sort of struggled your senior year. You obviously had a really great senior season, but how did that mentality you kind of have to adjust coming into an organization like this that you're expected to win every week, coming out of a tougher season like that?
Yeah, coming from UConn, I didn't have the best years here, but every game we went there expecting to win. We just didn't get the outcome we wanted. But coming here, winning 10 games last year, I was happy.
Winning feels a lot better.
Yeah.
So what was something that Calais imparted on you? He's such a great leader. Last season, what were some lessons that he gave you as a rookie?
For me, Calais just was big on taking care of your body, getting massages, because if you're not on the field, you won't be able to make no plays.
Right. Now, we had Michael Pierce on last week, so we're just running through the D-line here on the lounge. You guys are just the stars. He said that you're the second strongest person that he's ever met. The second strongest football player. Was this, I mean, I assume that you've always been strong your whole life.
Yeah.
Is that something that you feel like in your game it's just power, more power, and then I'll give you a little more power after that?
Yeah, I base my game off power. For me this year, I just want to use that power and start getting off and start making more plays with it.
Right. Have you and Michael Pierce ever, I mean, he's a strong dude too.
Real strong.
Arm wrestling? I mean, is there ever any?
But we do lift together. We push each other in the weight room.
Nice.
Who was the first? Did he say who the first was?
He's probably the second strongest person I've seen. One being Linval Joseph.
Wow, okay.
That dude is I almost tore my pec working out with Linval. Travis is just very, very big kid, broad shoulders, then lift the house.
I know when you were kind of getting into colleges, going through that process originally, a lot of schools wanted you to switch the offensive side of the ball. So why was staying on the defensive line so important to you?
Actually, I committed to UConn as an O-lineman. Then after I committed, they switched me when I got there. So I'm happy it worked out for me.
And why did they make the switch?
They needed to fill the void for the D-line, and they just put me over there.
Wow.
I was athletic enough.
Were you like a tackle?
Guard.
You were guard.
Yeah, I was playing guard.
So it's the reverse. I see.
Yeah.
So now you kind of take pleasure in just beating up guards.
Yep.
So you kind of have that. You can think about the game in both ways then too.
Yeah, I say that will help me a lot. It helped me a lot this year. I feel like having an offensive line perspective of it.
Yeah. What do you view as, the defensive line is so multiple here, guys learn different spots. What do you view as kind of your best spot?
Like on the D line?
Yeah.
I like playing nose.
Nose.
Yeah, because having a guy like Mike Pierre in front of me right now, just picking up little things, tips, he'd be giving me in rooms.
Yeah. Yeah. And what is it about playing nose that you really like?
I just feel more comfortable there, right in the middle of everything. And things happen faster playing nose because you're right over the ball. And I feel like I benefit from that.
It's so interesting though because you and Mike have very different body styles.
Yeah,
he's squattier, bigger, wider. You're taller, still wide. But how do you play the position different than Mike does?
I feel like obviously I play with a little bit more length than Mike because I'm taller.
Yeah,
and other than that, I feel like we played the game similar.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like this sophomore class, you kind of alluded it to. A lot of you guys really contributed last year, and you're stepping into bigger roles like we talked about. Do you guys ever, like as a class, maybe coming out of your rookie season, do you feel that this sort of class that you came in with is kind of stepping into these bigger roles together this year?
Yeah, I do feel that way. I feel like me, Kyle, Isaiah Likely, we all going to have to take some big jumps this year to help the team out.
When you were coming in as a rookie, like when you're seeing these are the guys that I was drafted with, did you kind of foresee that? I mean, there's a lot of big names in your class, guys that had really great college careers. Was that something that you kind of like foresaw for the group?
I say so because I know watching Kyle at Notre Dame, he was a big time ball player, and David Ajabo coming out of Michigan had a lot of socks. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I'm curious about, you said that you and Mike push each other in the weight room. I'm a guy who could use a little more work in the weight room. So how much weight are you two putting up in there?
A lot, man. So I don't even know. Around for bench, like 405, 420.
Wow.
And squat, he got me on squat. I'll give him that. He got me on squats. Yeah.
His thighs are massive.
Yeah.
So
you could bench a few Ryans here.
Yeah. So let's see. You said 4. You said how much?
405, 420.
Okay. All right. So you got at least 2+ of me just on the bar. On the rack. That's kind of crazy. I mean, has weightlifting, Mike was like a power lifter.
For real? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, he got really into powerlifting.
He looked like one though.
Yeah, exactly. Has weightlifting always been a big thing for you, or?
Yeah, I always enjoy weightlifting for some reason. I don't know why. I just feel like I need to be strong to be on the field.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about your background. What was your childhood like growing up?
Yeah, I grew up in New Haven, Connecticut.
Yeah.
Yep. I grew up actually playing baseball. I thought I was going to go to the MLB.
Okay.
For some reason. Then my freshman year of high school, my mom made me play football because I was just sitting in the house over the summer doing nothing. And she said, I got to get out of here. So that's when I fell in love with the game.
Wow. Okay. So who were your baseball idols growing up? Like, what did you envision yourself?
I'd probably say like David Ortiz, Big Papi.
Big Papi.
Designated hitter.
Yeah, that makes sense being up from Connecticut too. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I was thinking Cecil Fielder. That's kind of
CC Sabathia.
Yeah,
he a big guy too.
Were you a pitcher?
Hey, I pitched a little bit.
All right. I'm just imagining power hitter here. I'm just thinking power hitter. All right. Well, that's interesting. So when you started playing football, kind of, I mean, I assume you were always one of the biggest kids growing up. Were you instantly just whooping on kids, or
yeah,
how
I
did
say
this go?
so. But my freshman year, I didn't play varsity. I only played JV.
Okay.
Yeah. Then my sophomore year on, I was on varsity.
Right. Okay. So what was it about football that really made you fall in love with it?
I say just be out there, manhandle other people against their will, and just having fun with it. Yeah. I feel like it's more of a brotherhood in baseball and other sports.
In baseball or in football?
In football.
In football.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
When was the moment that you were kind of like, okay, this is something that could actually span into a career for me?
I say my junior year when I got invited to the Nike opening, and I went out there, made it for O-line. I actually made it to the final. I forgot what it's called, Elite 5 or something like that.
Yeah.
Then after that, I started getting offers, and I was like, bro, I could probably make it to the league.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what made you want to stay at UConn? Was it just home
close
school?
to home? I wanted my mom. My mom came up to every home game. My grandparents came up to every home game.
Yeah.
And that was big for me. I brought teammates home on Thanksgiving, Yeah.
That's cool. Well, and I think, you know, nowadays you see so many college players, you know, going to other schools and whatnot. And, you know, as we were kind of discussing, even though you didn't have the results in the win-loss column, you know, you stuck it out.
Yeah,
You know, you
stuck
stayed
it out.
there. Yeah. What made you make that decision, I guess?
I felt like because I started, I wanted to finish my career there with UConn.
Yeah.
They've always been good to me. And big thing, my family. Family was there for me.
Yeah.
Well, and you're not that far from there now, which is
Nope.
kind of nice. Or is your family able to get down to Baltimore easily since it's not too far?
Yeah, no, actually, I go home. My mom don't like driving down here for some reason. She's got to start taking the train.
Okay.
Yeah, but I was home about 2 weeks ago. I'm going to go home when we got this little break coming up, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, back to the football field, I guess, just what are your year 2 aspirations for this season?
Yeah, my year 2 aspirations, just to show improvement from year 1, keep getting better, start getting off blocks more, making more plays in the backfield, TFLs,
Right.
and get a couple more sacks. So.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of part of your game, too. You talk about being a nose, which you
Yeah.
think it's a run stuffer. You know, you're taking on double teams and
Yeah.
all that. But, like, you were a guy who has flashed certainly good feet and pass rush ability.
Yep. Yeah, I just want to keep improving off those things. And now having Chuck Smith here, Coach Weave,
Right.
they're going to take my game to the next level.
So you're working with Chuck, too?
Yeah,
The pass rush specialist?
Yeah. He worked with everybody. On D line.
Oh, see,
Yeah,
it's
it's not just the outside guys.
That's what I thought.
Nah.
Okay, so you're going to be pulling a spin move.
No, I ain't spinning. No. I'm not spinning.
Get that power moves.
Yeah.
Working off of
Working off
power. That's
power.
cool.
How would Anthony Weaver describe you if we asked him?
Probably say good kid. Quiet. I'm not that quiet in the meeting rooms, kind of, but a good kid, happy. That's it right there.
Well, describe Matabike and Brody. You know, Brody really kind of took a
Yeah.
big step forward last year, and Justin had a career year. You
Yeah.
know, how do their games kind of complement yours, do you say?
I feel like Brody could do it all power and finesse.
Yeah.
Same with Matabike. Those guys are. Well, this is like year 4 for those guys.
Right.
Yeah, those guys took me under the wing as soon as I came in and showed me the ropes.
Right. Very cool. Well, I know big things are coming for you in year
Yes,
2. I
sir.
can't wait to watch, man. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Well, thanks to Travis Jones for joining us. Good to get to know the big guy a little bit better. Yeah, I mean, we're his second interview, so.
I know, and I think we said this before we hopped on. First of many to come for him. I think he's going to be getting a
Exactly.
lot more requests this year. I'm really excited to see what he can do.
Exactly. So we want to remind listeners that this week the DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the Baltimore Ravens, has a limited time offer you won't want to miss. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code FLOCK. New customers get a deposit bonus of up to $1,000 only at DraftKings Sportsbook with promo code FLOCK. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER, 21 plus to play, physically present in Maryland. So it'll be interesting to see kind of what role exactly that Travis has, because, you know, like you said, he's primarily a nose tackle. You know, Michael Pierce, who we had on last week, if you haven't listened to that, go back and listen to that episode. You know, he's the starter. So it's kind of, as much as Calais left leaves a void, it's not really Travis that's so much filling that void.
Sure. Well, and it's interesting, too, because Michael Pierce did miss time last year.
Right.
So Travis Jones was able to get a lot more experience as a rookie than we would have kind of expected going
Right.
into that season. So you just really never know how that will all shake out, you know, when who's available, yada, yada. But like we talked about before with him, you know, he was able to get that experience in year 1. So that's only going to make him even better in year 2. But yeah, I think Anthony Weaver has a lot of good pieces in that room. And I think it's really always really interesting for me to walk by that position group of practice. I really enjoy his coaching style. He's so hands-on with them. Obviously, he has his own playing career that he can draw from. And
sure.
I really enjoy seeing him interact with all those guys.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I wonder, you know, Michael Pierce could be the first, second down run stuffing.
Sure.
You know, you get into third down, more pass rush situations. Does Travis get some more of those reps? You know, maybe we're looking at more sacks this year. Get the Chuck Smith specials going on.
Yeah, he talked about getting to work with Dr. Rush when we talked to him. So we'll be interested to see how that all plays out. You know, he talked about, Chuck talked this week about having those signature pass rush moves.
Yeah.
And one of the things he talked about was power.
Yep.
And then Travis came in and talked to us about how that's his thing, power. So maybe that'll work out.
Exactly. Well, we have some questions that have come into the lounge. This one comes from Naletti. And they say, with the signing of Laquan Treadwell, it seems like the only remaining receiver guaranteed a roster spot is Rashad Bateman. Okay, I'm going to first stop there and say that I think OBJ, Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, Nelson Aguilar are locks to make the team at wide receiver. The question here is, since Justice Hill re-signed and is a capable returner, could Devin Duvernay be a trade candidate? I'll kick this one off. I don't think so. I think that Devin Duvernay's had really good OTAs. There's, no reason right now to trade him. Like, you don't need the cap space right now immediately. The Ravens still have a little flexibility. The answer for me is a no. You don't want to be shorthanded at wide receiver. That's the last thing that the Ravens want to. They don't want to be in that position again. And Devin Duvernay, I understand Justice Hill is back. Devin Duvernay is a back-to-back Pro Bowl returner.
Right.
Who, by the way, is coming off his best offensive season last year, got off to a great start. I think that he's in a great position now where he can be used kind of as this Swiss Army knife, fourth wide receiver, most likely, kind of position on this team where, doing end-arounds and that jet sweeps and stuff like that. And of course, just traditional wide receiver stuff. He was really good in the red zone, making some great contested catches. The answer for me is a hard no on trading Devin Duvernay.
I agree. Like you said, we've seen a lot from him already in OTAs. It's only been a couple weeks. And with a team that's so obsessed with being so dominant on special teams, I don't see why you would make a position of strength a position of need.
Exactly.
Every team would love to have Devin Duvernay out there returning. And so I'm with you. I don't think that's going to be the case.
Yeah. All right. This question comes from Jesse F. The question is, Marcus Peters' game-sealing pick in the playoff game against the Titans felt like the most perfect storybook ending that could have happened in that game, with the Titans starting to feel like a new rival for the Ravens after the back-and-forth logo stomping. Okay, so you remember how? Yeah,
I
remember all that. Yeah. So, do you think with players like Marcus Peters not returning, or maybe not returning, and not playing the Titans in 2 years, maybe the rivalry is dead?
I don't think it's dead.
No, I don't think it's dead either.
I think it's plenty fresh for plenty of guys on this team. And yeah, in the past couple of years, I have felt that there's been a little more juice for those Titans games than, I hate to say it, even some of the Steelers matchups. Now, obviously, those are always special. You're not a true Raven until you've beaten the Steelers and so forth. But those Titans games have had a little extra juice.
Yeah.
And we got burned a few times, and we definitely felt that. Their team looks a little different, too, going into this season. But I think that there's enough guys still on this roster that remember those moments.
Yeah, I don't think that it's as spicy as it was back a couple years ago. I would agree with Jesse on that, but I certainly don't think it's gone. The Titans rivalry, is a very historic rivalry in Ravens history. You go back. That was a huge rivalry. One of the top, for sure. Contending with the Steelers. And then I think it got pretty spicy there in 2019.
Spicy is a good word for it.
Yeah, 2019, 2020, and them on the logo.
Even to the coaches, it was all the way up.
Yeah, I think there's always been a good relationship there with the coaches, but I think that the Titans coming out on the Ravens logo in 2019 and that whole thing was not received particularly well, and that's why Marcus Peters had a little retort. I don't think Peters potentially not being on the team. We'll see. Maybe he still does come back. I don't think that changes things. I just think the fact that we haven't played them really much the past 2 years, ever since beating them in the playoffs. That is more why I think it hasn't been as spicy as it was before.
Well, and I also think everything is a little less spicy if Marcus Peters is here.
It's an excellent point.
He definitely brings the spice.
That's an excellent point. All right, for all of our listeners out there, make sure you're subscribed to the Lounge feed. Give us a rating and review. We very much appreciate it. And if you haven't done so already, make sure you're also subscribed to Ravens Press Pass, our other podcast, which features all of our press conferences, all of our interviews, all of that stuff. Make sure you can subscribe and rate and review that one as well. Cassie, thank you so much for joining me.
Anytime.
Yes, it's very much a pleasure. You're just a Lounge regular now.
2 weeks in a row.
I did hear that shade that you were throwing.
Yeah, we had to. When you both take vacation the same week, you set yourself up for it.
But you're coming up for a big vacation here pretty soon, too.
I am.
Yeah, it's an exciting one. Shh. Okay, secrets. Anyway, thank you for joining me. Thank you for listening, and we'll be back with you next week. Now I'm going to be joined by Tom Grossi, who is a Packers fan. We won't hold that against him, still a friend of the lounge. He's doing great work, going to every NFL stadium in 30 days, raising money for St. Jude's. So really cool. He's got a huge YouTube audience. We're excited to have him join us here on the lounge. Well, I'm thrilled to be joined by Tom Grossi, who is traveling to all 30 NFL stadiums in 30 days. Yeah. Make sure you find him on YouTube. He's like a NFL content creator extraordinaire on YouTube, so make sure you check him out. Packers fan,
yes,
but that's cool by us. We got no beef with the Packers.
They're so far removed at this point. It's just like every 4 years. It's like okay for 1 week and then we're good.
Exactly. No beef. And you're wearing a Ravens jersey. So, I mean,
we gotta rock it.
So, this is day 10 on your journey, correct?
Yes, this is day 10. So, we're officially a third of the way through.
Yes. And you've already raised $100,000 for St. Jude's Children's Hospital?
Yeah. So, the initial goal was $100,000, and we have incentives in there too. And we've already hit it on day 10. We were taking an Uber from Philadelphia to get here, and it was about like 12:30 in the morning. And I got the notification that we hit $100,000.
Wow.
And so we're having a little party in the backseat, like, while we're exhausted and trying to get sleep. And yeah, it's been absolutely incredible. The response to this has been amazing. And, it just speaks to the amazing NFL community that's out there. The community that, I built over the years have been so generous. We've been donating to different fundraisers and charities. Like last year, we raised $102,000 for various charities. And so It's always been something important to me if you have a platform to kind of give back. And, this was just the biggest way I could think to.
Yeah, well, congratulations.
Thank you.
And tell our listeners how they can contribute.
Yeah, so there's two ways that you can primarily contribute. If you want to do it anonymously, that's cool on any of the 30 and 30 videos on YouTube. Yep. There's a direct link on YouTube that you could just hit donate. It's right there. Yep. But if you want a little bit more of an incentive, the link's in the description, and they're all over social media too. You could donate through there. You could put your name on it as well. It all goes to the same place. There's just like two separate ones, but we combine them. And the top donator at the end of all of this, I'll be giving them 2 tickets to their home opener. So, yeah, just a little bit more of an incentive. We have some incentives for people to donate. So, for example, like I'm going to have to wear like the spandex yellow Jaguar suit that the mascot wore last year in Jacksonville and stuff. And yeah, it's been an amazing experience so far.
So, describe your experience here in Baltimore.
So Baltimore, so we got here about like 2:30 in the morning last night. Yeah, no, it's
the red eye.
Yeah, shout out to our Uber driver who was incredible. And it's kind of been normal to get like about 3 hours of sleep on this just because it's about 15-hour days just trying to make this work. And people always go, do you have a tour bus or an RV or like, a private jet?
This is the Madden bus situation.
No, it's me paying for this. And it's like, all right, economy tickets, let's go. So however we can get there. But the experience has been incredible. And with the Ravens this morning, just so welcoming. And I'm not going to lie, I had my name on the video board when I walked in, and I was like, okay, this might be one of the coolest experiences of my life. So, I mean, everyone was just so kind and warm and welcoming. This is my first time in Baltimore, and it's just been incredible, and we just started the day.
Now, do you have any kind of affinity for the Ravens, any kind of connection?
I mean, it's just, I know the history, and obviously, growing up as a kid and just watching like amazing defenses and, the blackout Super Bowl game and things like that, I've always kind of have a soft spot for the Ravens because it seems that just covering the NFL, they never catch a break. Like if they have those teams, they have those teams. It's just like it's not anything, they just can't stay healthy, right? Like they have like freak injuries, and it's, there's a soft spot for that. After today, that soft spot has grown significantly.
All right. So tell us a little bit about your journey. 10 days in, any kind of wild stories?
I mean, there are quite the number of stories to even begin with this. So the things that we're 2 days behind on the videos, right? Because we need to because Johnny Barks, who is my editor, who is traveling with me, is absolutely phenomenal. Yeah. And when we get to a place, it's all about traveling, and then we go and do a fan meetup. We've been having these fan meetups in these cities, and as someone who just, sits in his basement in New York and talks about football, we have a community and it's great. I just never anticipated this. And we're having, 50, 60 people showed up. We had 150 people pack a backyard in Buffalo for me to jump through a table because the $50,000 incentive was to jump through a table in Buffalo.
Nice.
I thought it was going to be grass. It wasn't. It was gravel. So we got torn up a bit.
Oh, but, I see.
Oh, yeah. No, the back is still hurting a few days later. But,
you need to do that at the end when you're all done, just like
that may have been a logistical error. But, yeah, exactly. At that point, I'm just going to fall through the table. Right. But Yeah, I mean, we've missed flights. We had to drive 6.5 hours, for example. We had a 5:09 a.m. flight out of Buffalo to get to Boston.
Yeah.
So we can go to New England the next day. And I was running on 90 minutes of sleep. We were working all day because Buffalo was so crazy. And I was like, yeah, should I even go to sleep? You know, should I even bother?
One of those tough
and then I was
calls.
like, you know what? I should get some. You know, I should get some.
that's bad.
So, which horrible decision.
Yeah.
So
you
I
got to just ride it out.
I set my alarm for 3:45. I see an hour and a half on there. I was like, all right, we're going to try this. I put it down. I wake up at 3:45 and I do the typical like, all right, I'm up.
Yeah.
I'm just going to close my eyes for like 5 more minutes. And Johnny wakes me up at 4:30. And I was like, well, like we scrambled to the airport.
Yeah.
At one point, we thought we lost our camera and we like threw out water bottles, had to go through the garbage. It was in one of the bags. Like it was fine, but like panic. And so we were trying to buy an airport ticket to get to, we were going to go to LaGuardia and then drive 3.5 hours, whatever it took. Right. And things just weren't working out. And so at one point I said, okay, they open at 6 a.m. for their car rental place. I'm going to rent a car and drive 6 hours and 48 minutes on 90 minutes of sleep and just, we're going to go. Got there right before the fan event, jumped into the fan event, and then just did everything with New England all day.
Wow.
So that's good. It's a grind, but I got to be very honest with you. Like, I'm living a dream. Like, this is truly incredible.
Yeah.
And it's such a great cause. And I wanted it to be for charity. And I knew back in February when I came up with this idea, I really thought this could be something special. And it has blown away all my expectations.
Yeah. Can you tell me a little bit about how it came to fruition? Like, you said you came up with the idea in February, but like, has this been something that you've wanted to do for a long time before that, or what? Yeah. So I had always thought, you know, like on YouTube, like there's like characters I'll portray for different teams and things like that, you know, just kind of little bits and skits and things. And I was like, man, it'd be really funny if like, you know, some of those characters like went to the stadium or something. And I was like, oh, that'd be cool. And I'm in the shower where all great thoughts come from. I'm in the shower and it's Valentine's Day and I'm like washing my hair and I was like, well, what if I just did all 30 stadiums? I was like, yeah, but people have done that, right? Like they've done it, like they've done it in the season. They're like, we go see games and stuff. I was like, what if I do it in 30 days? And so I paused and I was like, that could be really cool. I would do it for a charity. I've been wanting to work with St. Jude for a while. Yeah. And I called a few people and was like, logistically, how much of a nightmare is this going to be? Yeah. Which, spoilers, it's a logistical nightmare. But I called a few people and I spoke to some people and like we planned out a route and like what it would look like starting in Green Bay, ending in LA. And yeah, I'd spent 2.5 months planning it, just like trying to get as much as I possibly could, just planned out. And then we announced it on the first night of the draft, and the response was incredible. Wow. And at that point, I was like, well, it's real now. So now got to follow through.
We got to do it. Like jumping through a table, and I see gravel, and I was like, well, I mean, we got to do it now. So yeah, and it's kind of just been a grind nonstop since we started. And, you know, some teams have been able to reach out to us and provide things like the Ravens today, who are absolutely incredible. They were, you know, the Patriots were really great for us, and, you know, the Packers were great, but the Ravens kind of went above and beyond in terms of just like how welcoming they were. Yeah. And it was just really cool to see everything, locker rooms, and this jersey for St. Jude is hanging in Lamar Jackson's locker.
Oh, that's so sick.
It's just like, it's amazing. So as just a diehard football fan, because like this is a game that we all love, you know, whether it's the Ravens where I don't have a ton of affiliations, like I know the history there. I saw the laundry room, right, in which like all the autographs and everything, and it's really truly incredible. So yeah, we're like we have to do this on a day-by-day basis now, because if teams start reaching out to us, which they have been, or media or things like that, we have to try and accommodate as many people as we possibly can. And then we are still doing fan events, because at the end of the day, this is what it's about. It's for the fans and it's for charity. So, you know, it's going day by day, but it's been the most incredible experience of my life.
Right. I have two last questions for you, logistical questions.
Yes.
So your path, you said you started in Green Bay.
Yes.
So you're kind of northeast and then circling down kind of south along the East Coast and then out west, so along the south.
So we went out, so we were in Green Bay, and then just because Minnesota was out there, we had to do like a quick like boop, like we had to go over and check that out, then go to Chicago, which almost defeated us. Like day 3, we were almost like, I don't know how we're going to do this, man. And yeah, so then we're just kind of like working our way, and then we're going to go to the East Coast. We're going to go back to Pennsylvania for a hot second, Indianapolis, and then work our way down south, and then start moving across the country, and then eventually hit the West Coast, you know, go Denver to Seattle, and then move our way down to get to LA.
Yeah, all right. This is really scratching my trip planner itch here, kind of hearing the logistics.
Listen, if you ever want to just have stress all the time of just being like, I need to be here. So, I mean, so for example, like even flights, there's only like one flight that I could have booked ahead of time, and that was the Denver to Seattle one.
Wow.
Because I was like, I have to. Like that one, it has to be
You're
done.
not driving that one.
You know, and Seattle reached out, shout out to the Seahawks, you know, they reached out to us. They're like, can you come in the day before? Because like, then we can give you a stadium, like the night stadium tour. We can do all these things. And I'm like, I can't, you know, because like I just don't, the timing is just not there, you know? And there's been a few that we've missed it by a day. The Vikings, we missed by a day. You know, we're going to miss the Broncos by a day.
Yeah.
And the Seahawks too, we're going to still do stuff with them. But, you know, it is what it stinks. You know, you want to get to as much fan experience as you possibly can. But, you know, we're trying to survive at this point. Like,
right, you're already on
big
fumes.
component of it. And, you know, just trying to give the fans, you know, everyone who comes out, you know, I'll sign every single person, take a picture with every single person. People have driven 3.5 hours. They've flown out for this, which is surreal. Like, again, like I'm just a guy in New York who talks about football, makes goofy football videos. So for the fact that fans even come out, you know, whether it's 30 to 50 to 150, you know, I want to take the time and make sure that everybody, you know, is satisfied.
Right. And last one for me, what's your like go-to snack beverage? Like how much coffee? Is it Slim Jims? What are we talking? What keeps you alive?
So I don't drink coffee.
Oh my God. This trip just got 1,000 times harder in my opinion.
So I don't drink coffee. And to be completely honest with you, Johnny Barks is the guy that I'm trying to take care of the most because he's handling the editing and everything. So I brought like some protein bars every now and then. There's been a couple of days already where like I've had a protein bar and that's all we're running off of just because, you know, it's just a grind and trying to get things done. So yeah, anything that I can eat at this point is like the to-go-to snack. And that's really been like the one disappointing thing is like, I hear all these places have amazing food and cuisine. And I'm like, I wouldn't know. Like we did a fan event in Minnesota. We sat down and everything. There's 40 people there, and it was awesome. We supported the local business because that's what we're doing too. Everywhere we go, we're trying to support local businesses. And I ate a pickle and 2 chips, and like I had to take the meal back, and you know, eventually ate it at like 1 o'clock in the morning. But yeah, no, I'm used to this because I was a former teacher for 6 years, and then I was doing this, so I'm used to 3 hours of sleep. I'm used to the grind, so you know, it's just now amplified.
Right. Well, Tom, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And what's the other? What's your new goal for fundraising? Is there a new goal?
So the initial goal, we had incentives every $25,000 all the way up to $100,000. And now there's the push goals. So just in case this went crazy, which it's starting to, you know, we have at $250,000. If we make it there, we will spend the night in a haunted hotel in New Orleans.
Oh my God.
If we hit $500,000 by the time we get to Kansas City, I will eat the hottest thing I could find. They make Da Bomb there from the Hot Wings show. If anyone watches that, Hot Ones. So there, if we hit $750,000, I'm going to jump off a building in Vegas that you could jump off the hotel, the Strat, and do a sky jump.
Wow.
I'm not a fan of heights. So that's something. And then if we do $1 million, I will get my first tattoo of this. So yeah.
The tattoo? See that?
I'm terrified.
Is it on your face?
So no. So I'm terrified. People were like, you're jumping off a building.
Right.
So real quick, I hate needles. Like I'm a big no needle guy. I was in the hospital a lot as a kid and got poked and stuff like that. So it just developed a phobia. So it's a big deal for me. So I'm like, okay, like I'll get it. But yeah, no, I mean, again, at the end of the day, it's incentives, it's fun, it's content, but it's really just St. Jude. I didn't even tell St. Jude we were doing this. I was like, yeah, let's just do it and call Chaotic good. And they reached out yesterday because they were like, we don't even know how to get a hold of you. Like I got a Twitter DM from a director was like, who are you? But I was just like, we're just doing crazy things out here.
Right. Awesome. Well, Tom Grassi, check him out on YouTube. Make sure you contribute if you're able to. And congrats on the journey so far and best of luck moving forward, bud.
Thank you so much. And thank you for having me.
All right.